Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Peace in Action. Today, we complete the 11 days of global unity, and it's concluding with a focus on peace, my favorite topic, as we celebrate World Peace Day. I'm Teri Angel. I'm the Peace Campaign Coordinator for We the World, and I'm honored to be joined on this panel with some amazing people doing wonderful work in the world related to peace. Honore de Balzac said, "It is easy to sit up and take notice. What is difficult is getting up and taking action." We're going to talk today about peace in action, and each of these panel members are taking action. We'll hear from each of them as we focus our discussion today on peace in action. I would like to invite you, each person listening in, to search your own heart. As you listen, ask what your level of commitment is to peace in your own life and peace in our world. I am so honored to present these ladies. We have Diane Tate, Nancy Merritt, MarBeth Dunn, Shannon Crossbear, and Karen Palmer. Welcome, ladies. I am so glad that you all are all here to join in on this discussion. I would like to start out with
Did everybody else freeze for you, Diane?
Teri's the only one that's frozen for me.
Nancy Merritt.
There she is.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for gathering this group together and this good topic. Happy International Day of Peace, everybody. Really happy to be here. We know International Day of Peace is the theme. Okay. Yeah, so happy International Day of Peace. And we know that the theme this year is End Racism, Build Peace. And I think it's a really appropriate topic for where this country and this world are at today. We need to focus on both of those issues. I'm with the Department of Peacebuilding campaign, which is part of the Peace Alliance, and have been working for a cabinet level Department of Peacebuilding since 2004. It's an ongoing process, and we're doing that through a lot of different kinds of actions, including working with Congress and trying to get more co-sponsors on the bill. We're in the particular season now that we call Advocacy Days. And so we've been on calls with congressional and Senate offices for the last couple of weeks, and just got off of one with Senator Cory Booker, meeting with Jared Nadler's office, Congressman Meek's office. Those were today. We've had like tons of others. So that part of this is to get co-sponsors for the bill. We also work to get organization endorsers and cities, counties, and tribes. So we have something like 45 on endorsing now. And education is a big part of what we're doing. We have a YouTube channel too, and just lots of other things that I could go into in more detail after folks talk, but I'm very happy to be here.
Nancy, thank you so much. And again, I apologize for some computer glitches, but thank you to my dear co-host, Karen, who is keeping it rolling every time that I disappear. And let's go to you, Karen. Let's hear from you. And just so you all know, I'm putting your little bios that I have in the comments so people will actually get your contact information and something about what you are doing.
Oh, thank you so much, Teri, and happy Peace Day, everyone. I'm so excited for all the amazing, beautiful work that everyone is doing in the world right now. I am so honored to be a representative for We the World and for the Peace Pals International. And Peace Pals International is an organization that fosters understanding and respect for the diversity and oneness of the human family and the natural world through its various creative activities. Peace Pals is for 5 to 16-year-olds to become peacemakers dedicated to living in the spirit of may peace prevail on earth. So I am the founder of Global Kindness Going Viral. I'm also known as Miss Kindness. I've been going into the schools for over 20 years now with my nonprofit organization that teaches environmental education, animal advocacy, kindness, compassion, and peace education. So I work with other organizations like We the World and May Peace Prevail on Earth and the Peace Pals International to bring as many children into and families together to have these beautiful kindness conversations and mindful conversations about how we can go from a me society to a we society. And so I really believe that peace is the answer and love is the answer to everything that we have as questions. So I think that this is an exciting time for us to all gather here. And I'm kind of like a Weird Al Yankovic of kindness and compassion. And I put together musical coloring books for children to help them to see that every word that they speak is their wand. And they have a magic wand, and the words that they are putting out into the world are helping to create a world that works for all of us. And this is empowering children, and that's what I'm all about, is empowering children and families to really tap into their own inner wisdom so that they can share their own incredible gifts, because I think everyone has incredible gifts to share. And I think that we'll have a much more peaceful world when we're just being more kind to each other.
Thank you so much, Karen. I've known and loved Karen for many years, and we've done many things together. And I know her heart is with the children. And when we can teach our children about peace, that is our future. So thank you. And thank you, ladies. Let's go. I want to hear from my MarBeth Dunn. MarBeth, so excited to have you here with us today.
I'm so thrilled to be here, Teri, and thank you, Karen, and oops, I just lost my screen here. And Nancy, thank you so much for sharing already. You know, it's so important, the work that you're doing. It's really so empowering. And I am not doing any large scale projects at this time. About 4 years ago, I had the World Miracle Peace Experiment, and it was a 6-month broadcast over Facebook where we focused on the Middle East, and we met in the quantum field and focused love and peace towards the Middle East. And during the 6 months of our project, the level of violence dropped over 20%. So that was wonderful. But I have been working on peace, and it's been more of cultivating personal peace and helping others to access that peace, because there, as the unity prayer, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. And this actually became so meaningful to me. I have worked for many years teaching A Course in Miracles, working on other aspects of helping people to become more and more peaceful. In the process, I did my work. I released a lot of trauma. And over about 2 weeks ago, something triggered it within the family, and all of that trauma came up and just it was like a tidal wave. And I thought, oh, isn't this perfect? Because I can use this to talk about peace. How to be peaceful when you're feeling just such tumultuous energy and feeling overwhelmed and with so many powerful feelings. And I know I'm not alone. I know that so many people have gone through even probably much more traumatic scenarios than I have. But because it was like a perfect storm, I've been doing a particular Qigong exercise called the Pearl of Consciousness, which has been also stirring things up. And the trigger, it was just like a tidal wave of trauma. And I thought, here I am, a teacher of peace. And what do I do with this? So in order to become more peaceful, one of the things we need to do is to be more neutral, to rise above the battleground, to basically get that 35,000 foot view and get above it, even though you are experiencing all of the past trauma, all of the emotions coming up. And also, I'm very grateful that I have the tools. But one of the other things that's so important is the focus on gratitude, to realize that peace is a choice, and to have the tools to really help people to move into this space so they can navigate from a place of peace through the different aspects of trauma that they may be dealing with. Now, I know also from my years as a Course in Miracles instructor to teacher that when we send, and also from our World Peace Experiment, that sending peace out to others, sending love out to others, it all comes back. And it comes back at a much higher magnitude than when we do that. So also expanding peace from that personal level is also so important that I think that also needs to be addressed. So I'm going to just leave it at that.
Oh, MarBeth, I was so hoping that you would talk about what you did, that peace experiment that you did.
I'm really happy to, because it was so profound. I woke up one morning and I received the message, you're going to do this peace broadcast over, well, I thought it was going to be on a private network, but the network crashed with the first broadcast. So I immediately went on Facebook. I'd never done a Facebook Live. And I did a Facebook Live, and we had people from all over the world, from Japan, from Australia, from Europe, and of course the United States and Canada. Everybody was meeting for 7 minutes a day for world peace. And so we did, and I would do a meditation. Teri was part of it. Karen was part of it. And what we would do would be to unite everyone over the airwaves in the field of love and peace and miracles. And from there, in that space, that quantum field, we focused the love and the peace on the world, on the Middle East. And we had independent statistics from the UCLED, and they never knew that we were looking at their statistics online. So it was completely neutral. And the level of violence, we measured it every month, and every month, it was just going down, like, it leveled about 20% less than when we had begun. And it was just so very powerful. I didn't want to stop it, but I was guided to at that point.
And just imagine if we did more of that.
I know.
Yes. I just think that that's something that I just would love to see expand out. Thank you.
that together. That would be fun.
Ooh, that would be vision. Oh, thank you so much, MarBeth, for being here. What a delight you are to all of us. Diane Tate. Oh, Diane, I'm just so excited to talk. Is it Deanne or Diane?
It's Deanne. Thank you for
Deanne,
asking. Mhm.
thank you. I always want to know how the pronunciation is, so thank you.
Absolutely.
And I would just love to hear more about the Peace Alliance and what you can bring to us, and share about yourself, please. I'm putting this all in the comments of what your organizations are and what you are doing in your organizations.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, thank you all. It was lovely to meet all of you. Nancy is one of my coworkers, so I know her, but I'm meeting the rest of you for the first time today, and I'm grateful to be here. I am Diane Tate. I'm the managing director of the Peace Alliance, and as Nancy mentioned, Nancy is the team lead of our Department of Peacebuilding campaign within the Peace Alliance. So I get the profound pleasure of working alongside her, which I'm grateful for. So the Peace Alliance has been around, started by Merritt and Williamson back in 2004. So we've been around for a little bit of time. The focus in the early days and continuing through to this day was our key moment of legislation is for the Department of Peacebuilding, which is a cabinet level department that we are advocating, and Nancy will probably talk more about that a little later. The organization in and of itself, we have the great honor of being both a C3 and a C4, which allows us to do advocacy work in terms of uplifting and advocating for legislation, the Department of Peacebuilding bill, but also other bills that we identify as being the foundation for peacebuilding efforts. And so that's our C4 side. And then the C3 side is peace education. We have a 10-hour audio course that we offer called Practicing Peace in Schools that is aimed toward introducing or further deepening the understanding of best practices around meditation, restorative justice, lots of personal practice, amazing information in that 10-hour course for educators, administrators, and parents, because we know that it takes a village. Our schools not only it's not about just what they teach, but it's also about what they model and how the environment of the school is for the students to be able to learn. Not only do they learn by being taught curriculum, but they also learn by doing. So that is one of the offerings that we offer under our umbrella of programs. In terms of peace in action, one of the things we talk about a lot with the Peace Alliance is that peace is a verb, that it's not necessarily this end result that we're all going to get to and everybody's going to breathe a sigh of relief and whew, we made it. We're all peaceful now. It's more, and maybe we'll get there. I don't know. That would be great. But right now, as we are all working towards this ideal, it really is about what decisions do I make in every moment of every day to be peaceful? How do I show up for others, for my neighbors, for my friends? And what do I do to cultivate peace within my own environment, the personal peace aspect? So we have 5 cornerstones of peace. That's cultivating personal peace, community peace building, humanizing the justice system, practicing peace in schools, and then fostering international peace. So under those 5 cornerstones, our focus is on those different areas of peace building, trying to help people find their niche, what they are called to do and what they're called to work on, and then also offering any programs or amazing things that are happening in the world. I'm seeing women right now on my screen who are obviously offering some amazing programs from your own communities. there's incredible work being done out there, and a lot of people don't know about it. So the Peace Alliance, would love to have a hand in amplifying that work and really becoming a clearinghouse, if you will, or a place for folks to go and become part of the alliance to create peace, because we know that if we're not intentional about it, it's not necessarily just going to happen on its own. So that's a bit of a nutshell of who I am and what we do at the Peace Alliance. And I'm sure I'll get more chance to talk in a little bit. So thank you.
Absolutely. I'm just falling more and more in love with the Peace Alliance. So thank you for being here today, Deanne, and you as well, Nancy. Thank you both for representing. Speaking of representing, our next lady is Shannon Crossbear. Shannon, I just love you so much. Shannon is our Interdependence campaign coordinator at We the World. And welcome. Share with us, please. And you're muted at the moment, dear.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anin Indaway Maganek. Wabagonis Nakishnakaz. Bodam Makwa. I wanted to just greet you all in the Ojibwe language in my way, and also just to take a moment for myself to say a few things in my language, and then I'll continue, and I'll tell you what I'm saying after. So, Chimigwech Manilo Nokumis Mishnomish, Bayanam and Gindamis Wabagonis. So I was just asking my grandmothers and grandfathers to look down upon me and, to just help me as to, speak in a good way. And my greeting was to you all as relatives, those that are on this little screen here and those out who may be listening now and those who may be listening in the future. So, and I say that very specifically because we're having this conversation about peace, right? And when I think about peace and all the ways that everybody is contributing to creating a world of unity and peace, right? That and then when I reflect upon that and I think, well, that peace is not only probable, it is inevitable. And I say that because everything that has been leading up to this point in time, like these are things that we as Indigenous people have, have foreseen and said, there would come this time. But more importantly, 7 generations ago, our grandmothers prayed for this to happen. And whether you believe in prayer in that way or setting that intention or putting that intent out, and we know the power of that. MarBeth just spoke about what that, Teri spoke about that. We've all recognized how important that is. And now at this time when we have this ability to connect in a different way than we might have imagined in the past, right, is allowing us to really do that. And Nancy, when you talked about kind of, the theme of peace and racism, right? And thinking about deeply about what that means if we're really shifting the way that we do things. I come from a community that has basically been ignored, invisible, and yet it's the very foundation of this particular North American. And we know the history of that, right? And yet we still don't speak of it. And I tell people like you see some of my relatives behind me in this picture, but I have, kids and grandkids and now a great grandchild on the way. And, when I look, but 2 of my sons are carpenters, and they always tell me, if you have a bad foundation, your building's going to go. And there's only 2 ways to take care of a bad foundation. One is to tear it down, start over. The other is to lift that building up and do the repairs necessary to fix the foundation, right? And so we have all this foundational work that we're doing, and we're doing it right now. And it gets done by the things that, that each of you are doing and contributing. Like, so we're all peace builders, right? And look at this. Look at this. I mean, we know that we're just 6, right? We're just 6 on this screen right now, but all of the, whether you look at the peace poles that exist, right? And thinking about those connections that are connecting peace pole to peace pole to peace pole throughout internationally, right? Thousands now upon thousands of peace poles, and the places where those peace poles are. I was honored to be involved in the peace pole planting that was in South Dakota at Crazy Horse, right? And the peace pole that's in my yard here on the shores of Lake Superior, where the water protectors began to really be more visible, right? And who have been here for ages upon ages. So all of those things, and I just want us to remember that when we talk about peace and relationships, that we're not just talking about what happens between human beings. Until we recognize that we have an opportunity to build peace with the earth and with all our relations, be they human or non-human, that support life, then that's when we can really, we know we are taking a step, because how we treat our world is how we treat each other. And as stewards of and relatives, to the earth, we have a responsibility to think about that piece, because just like we were, Diane, when you're talking about, the different individual piece and community piece, and, it's that's where that interdependence comes in. So I'm just so glad to be here, and to all the opportunities we have, right? To not see peace as a separate campaign in the world, but as integrated into everything. And I heard that education, into our healthcare system, into the way that we perceive justice, right? So, yeah, let's go. We're in it.
Oh my gosh, we are in it. I am on a mission right now called the Peace on Earth Tour, and I have been traveling for 2 years throughout this beautiful, amazing, wonderful country of ours. And I talk to people all the time about peace and how each person can take action. What can each of us do? And I'd love to have that discussion with all of you here. But one thing I want to share with you, every action has an impact. Every action. One of the things that I'm doing throughout this country is building a web of love throughout the country. So when I come into an area by invitation, I come in and I bless that land. I call in the ancestors. I call in the angels. I call in spirit. And I ask for that land to carry the energy of peace. And I actually leave a token in that place where the land, we call it a land blessing. So a token is left there. And then that communicates with the next one. And then that communicates with the next one. So we're building a web throughout our country of peace. And I've been speaking with some of the ones, Karen is one, that where we did a land blessing in those areas. And what happened? What happened afterward? How things might have changed. And I've been given the burden now to do some research in those areas and to find out what did happen. Was there a difference? Was there an impact? Just like your project that you did, MarBeth, what was the difference that was felt and seen in those areas? So everything that we do, every action we do, planting a peace pole, talking to somebody, calling our representatives, talking to them about peace. Every action makes an impact. So how can we make a bigger impact, and how can we share with others? And those of you that are listening, I really want you to pay attention, because I want to see if something speaks to your heart. Are you being called to take some action? Or maybe is that action supporting others who have things in place that are doing the work out there in the world? So ladies, I'd just like to open it up to your amazing minds, and let's talk about how we can get more involved in actually doing. We can talk about peace a lot. We can, just sit around and discuss it. But what are some of the steps we can take? What can we do and bring more peace into our world? Nancy.
Well, I just wanted to comment. I mean, educating ourselves and being aware, I think, is a big first step. And as we've learned, when we introduced the first Department of Peace bill, that's what it was called. And as we've learned, like Diane said, that peace is really a verb, we talk about it now as Department of Peacebuilding. And that as it's gone along, we've learned that peace building is both an art and a science. And there are lots of things we know that work, and it's how you apply those things, I think, is an artful thing. And for me, a real core is sort of the piece that Shannon was talking about, is learning from our elders, learning from the Indigenous community, which we built a lot of that language into the bill. And even so much as we define peace building in a Hopi way, which is talking about it as being working together with all nations to protect both life and land and hold the earth in balance. And I think the greater community needs to really listen and pay attention to all the wisdom that's already out there. And how do we apply that? How do we learn this whole idea of reciprocity with the earth and all of that? And we also built into the Department of Peacebuilding bill that whole idea of interconnection and the intersectionality of peace and justice and equality and planetary survival and so many other aspects of life. So, in addition to the outreach and trying to do the so-called political part of it, I think the education part of it and the personal and community piece are really important.
Beautiful. Education, so important. We can educate, and then that moves forward. It's like the domino that goes out from the people that are hearing the message and hearing what's being done. And just love what you said. Thank you so much, Nancy. Deanne, you raised your hand.
Yes. First of all, I just wanted to thank Shannon for offering in your native language in the beginning of what you shared. That really means a lot to me. And I also resonated with your metaphor of the foundation. I talk about that actually a lot, and use that metaphor because I tend to think in pictures. And when I share about a foundation, thinking about, that the house will fall if the foundation is cracked. For me, it's about, as a white woman, it's about identifying that the cracks are there. And so when I talk to people about peace building and I talk about what people can do, especially when I'm speaking to people that look like me, I talk a lot about, identifying and owning and claiming the harm, and being real about what that looks like to others. And so I just wanted to offer that, that for so many in this country, we have been buffered in a lot of ways from what the harm is, and so it's very it's challenging to identify how to fix it, challenging to identify, how the idea that there are others outside of ourselves that feel a lack of peace to some is a surprise. And so that sometimes I lose a little patience with that. I wonder how that could be a surprise. I wonder, where has that person been, and have they been paying attention to anything? So I can get a little in my feelings about that. But when we have those dialogues and we talk about it, it's like, for me, the first part is stepping outside of myself and paying attention to what's happening around me. The idea that peace doesn't necessarily look the same for someone who doesn't look like me, for someone who might be Black or brown or indigenous, or, comes from a different culture but lives in this country. What could, if I ask them, what does peace look like to you? My guess is that their description of what that might look like is different than what my own is. That was a big aha for me. And I think, it starts there for folks that look like me. So infusing empathy into our society, asking folks to listen to others who have a different experience than their own, and to not be afraid of those conversations, and to sit in the discomfort if that's what rises up for them, is where a lot of that identifying the cracks in the foundation begin. Because once we shore those up, the walls that are above them will have more stability, right? And then you could get a roof on it, which actually could provide shelter. And I mean, the house metaphor just totally works for all of this, Shannon. So I appreciate you bringing that into the room. So thank you.
Yeah, I also thank you, Diane. I agree. I think Teri, you said, what could people do, right? What can you do? What kind of action you can do? And it's all of that. Some of it is changing one's attitude. And to me, it's all about relationship. Whether it be with the earth or another human being, we take care of what we care about. And we care about what we have relationship with. It's why those one-on-one kind of powerful storytelling, getting two people with divergent, experiences together to have a conversation in a safe place with, some way. We do it in ceremony, but it can be done in any way. It's the thing is that what can you do? The most powerful thing you can do is hang out with somebody you totally disagree with. Hang out with somebody who doesn't have a clue what you're talking about, and you don't have a clue what they're talking about. Hang out with somebody who has such a different life experience than you, right? And when you come to that common denominator of humanness, it doesn't mean that, for me, like, great question, how do you define peace? And for me, it doesn't mean an absence of conflict. It means that the resolutions to those conflicts, or the living with those conflicts, does not result in harm. And the other thing that I think is so powerful, because I was sitting here going, what is it for me that the stages that I've, continue to go through, it's not an arrived place, right? That I continue to go through, of when I feel the hurt and the pain of something like our murdered and missing Indigenous women. When I feel the hurt and the pain, when it comes back to me about the boarding schools and how we're finding the bones of our children that we've known about, but until people outside of our community had the bodies, the physical proof, nothing we said was true, right? So and to meet someplace where it's not about blame and shame. It's about, how do we heal together? because until we heal together, you know, that the peaceful path eludes us, right? Whether it be country or, you know, color or whatever divisions create the them and us mentality into this more collective understanding of who we are, right? Yeah, at this point in time. So those are the things that I think of, and it always gives me great hope. So it may be simple things, like I said, finding somebody that's different than you. And yeah, like Granny said, you know, there's a reason we got one mouth and two ears. So, you know, there's that. And yeah, so I'm just glad that I see everybody doing. I participated in another project that I'll tell you a story about how I had to kind of jump into a situation like that. I was asked to attend this writers group, and I went, oh, okay. But I was asked by somebody I really, really admire their writing and their philosophy and the work that they've done in the world. And that is Palmer Parker. And I said, yes, or Parker Palmer. I said, yes, I would love to do that. Thank you. And so he gave me this opportunity, and I went to this writers group, and it was all, I'll say this in the way that I would say it in my own community. It was all white people, and they were all Christians. And it was a Christian activity. It was a Christian writers course, you know, and which was not my comfort level, just to let you know. And so I went and I listened, and I, you know, found things that I thought were helpful. And then the individual who was sponsoring the writing course invited me to participate in a project that they were doing, which is on healing the divides. And the idea was that they do know about the divides. Now they've got this awareness. Yes, we all know it exists, but what the heck do you do about it? So he was gathering writers to write from their perspective or from their organizations, just much like we do with We the World, to try to elevate that, but also then to create all the supports that go with that. Things like, discussion groups, questions to ask at the end of each, chapter. I think there was something like 20 contributors, and then they did a second book because it was so well received. So there's these discussion groups that are going on, right, where they're having these kinds of conversations. My hope is that in those conversations that you walk into those discussion groups and that there's people that respectfully disagree with each other, right? So that was a whole lot, and I will use my own advice and be quiet now.
Thank you, Shannon. Karen, MarBeth?
I would like to really, I loved what you had to say, Shannon, and I thought it was so powerful. And I like the idea of writing, because writing, the pen is such a powerful tool. And a book is great, but what about, opinions in large national newspapers, Washington Post, New York Times, get opinions out, say, okay, we've shined the light on these particular experiences. Here are some solutions. Here are some things that we can do. So then you're getting it out into a national level. Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with that, MarBeth. The pen is a powerful instrument.
It is, and I read opinions, in these newspapers. I read them, but we don't see, here's a peace building process. Here's what we can do. We've shined this light. We have such an amazing divide in this particular country in terms of politics. It's crazy because, they just, it's like the extremes. There's no moderation because of the way the system is built. And to have, somebody just say, okay, let's create peace here. What are we going to do? Let's have some steps that people could follow. And also what Shannon was saying about getting together with groups that are totally different than you are. There was an experiment a few years back between some New York liberal, I think they were gay women, and in Michigan, some Christian, they were very far right politically, men. And the women came and stayed with these people, and then the men came and they forged powerful friendships. They were so diverse, but they actually got to see the humanity in each other. So I think more retreats like that would be wonderful.
Great idea. I love it. I love all of this, and thank you all. And I can't wait to hear what our Karen Palmer has to say. Karen,
I'm going inward.
okay.
I'm loving this conversation of all these beautiful, beautiful ideas outward. But what Teri and I, what Teri was talking about when she said the web of love, I actually do an inner journey with the children that take them on a experience so that they can actually experience the unified or the quantum field. And they can see that every strand in that web is just as important as every other strand. And I think that if we talk to each other in this way, if we see each other as strands of light, if we could just see each other as the rays of light that we are, and stop so much focusing on what looks like on the outside and really focusing on that web of love. I call it the web of love. I'm a Kundalini yoga instructor also, so I talk about the chakra energies, which are energy centers. But I believe the heart chakra is the web of love. And when I can bring somebody into that experience where they can actually feel that, okay, so the pandemic gave us a great opportunity, a huge opportunity in our environment, in our community alone, where we did do the land blessing here in California. I saw a huge difference in the people, because what we get to answer is a question: am I all alone or am I all one? And this is what the pandemic gave us an opportunity to see. Am I sitting here in a Zoom room all alone, or am I all one with these beautiful beings that are here sitting in front of me, like Brady Bunch or the, Hollywood squares? How do we join each other, knowing that we're not physically in each other's presence, but we do this in Zoom, right? We experience this connection. And what I saw in the pandemic that was my question. I kept asking over and over again, am I alone or am I all one? Am I alone or am I all one? And I'm all one. And I'm all in. I'm all in for the all one experience. I'm all in for the web of love. I'm all in for the lake of peace, so that we can all dive in to our inner gentleness, to that inner oneness, the absolute harmony that is us. That's what I want to do with children, is invite them to experience their inner guidance so that they can connect with their ancestors. They can connect with all the beautiful, beautiful beings of light and love that are available to all of us. These chakra energies, are so empowering and so powerful. And the children are just open to receive. They're open. They're just, okay, yes, take me to the web of love. Take me to the lake of peace. They're just ready and they're willing and they're able. And this is what I would love to see for adults. I see it in the children. I see it in the animals. I see it in nature. We are all connected. And Shannon, you are such an incredible speaker at bringing that into such an awareness so that you can really feel it, you know? And so the more that we do that with each other, I encourage another activity for children is have a peace corner in your home and take the children, not only for the children, but for the grown-ups too, and create a peace corner, a place where everybody knows, hey, I'm in my peace place here. This is where this is where I like to come and share that. I was so excited when I told the children about creating a peace corner, and then they came in the next day. I told my aunt and my uncle, and they all came and they made their peace corner. And now when we have Thanksgiving, we have a peace corner at our Thanksgiving, so that there's an opportunity for people to go and be in a place of peace when you've been overwhelmed with a lot of socializing. You know, we all need a peace corner in our home. And we all need to remember that we're all part of this web of love. And we all are so important. Every single strand, not one strand is more important than another strand in a web. And when the spider is creating the web, the spider knows that every piece of that beautiful web is just as important as every other piece. I believe that if we can do that with the children, we can change the whole way that our society is treating each other. And I truly believe it because I've seen it in my own environment. I've seen it in my own community. I've seen it in all the people that I have the blessing of being in presence with. Especially you, beautiful sisters. Thank you so, so much for this amazing time together. I am so incredibly grateful. I'm like choked up. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Oh my gosh, you just inspired me. In less than 2 weeks, there's going to be a retreat that I'll be leading here in Vermont. And I think we'll have a peace corner. I love that idea. Thank you. We all need a peace corner.
Oh, yes. Would you love to see that in the government?
Oh.
I'd love to teach a yoga class to our government. I've been trying to get it at my local city council. I've been going over and talking to them, and they kind of poo-poo me. I'm that one that got recycling here, composting in the city.
Yeah, right.
So I'm going to get them doing yoga too.
Keep on plugging at it. That's what I say. Deanne, what do you have for us?
Thanks. I guess I wanted to offer that into the space that I think it's a both and, not necessarily an either or. What I've come to realize in my work, especially over the past 6 years, is that the lens that I see a peaceful world through is not necessarily the same lens as others. And I think it's important to create space for that. It doesn't mean that my lens that I see a peaceful world through doesn't count or is wrong or is undervalued. It just means that it's different. And so I have been, it has been suggested to me throughout my years that sometimes I can talk about what I want to envision for the world, And I'm surprised to find out that others, when they love me and care enough about me to share their experience with me, say, you do realize that that's not attainable for me right now. And that was a wake-up call for me. It was really an aha moment to remember that my experience is not the same as others, and I do them a disservice if I suggest that the lens that they're looking through is somehow incorrect. So I just wanted to offer into this space that I think everything that each of us and the people that we touch and that we surround and that we work with in our communities are all coming from a place of, hopefully coming from a place of deep love. I suppose I can't say that for sure. And that each voice is unique, and each experience is unique, and each lens is unique, and each list of priorities about what someone might think is at the top of their list to focus on is going to be different than mine. And so those differences manifest in all of us, in all of our communities are different. Those lenses are different. And I think we run the risk, or at least it's been expressed to me, that I have erased others and their experience by not being willing to see the reality that others experience and the reality that others might be feeling when they're trying to manifest peace within their own communities. So I guess I'm not sure if any of that makes any sense, but I wanted to offer it into the space because I think as peace builders, what's important for us is that when others hear us speak about a world that we want to manifest and create and co-create with each other and with the greater community, I want to make sure that my words are always mindful of those. I want everyone to be able to see themselves in the reflection of the world that I might articulate I'm trying to create and manifest. And I've learned through experience that sometimes the keyhole that I'm looking through can make it difficult for me to see everyone. So just wanted to offer that into the space. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Absolutely. And you know, what we focus on expands. Mm-hmm. So when we're listening, when we're communicating, talking to each other, like the topic about this, about peace, what is your focus? Is your focus to impress on others, or is your focus to see each other and see the equality in each other? So we invite the listener to focus. What is your focus? And is your focus on being in a more peaceful world? There are people that don't want peace in the world, and there's not a judgment. That's just a fact. So just look at where your focus is. Look at where your heart is telling you. And I know we're out of time, but I would just like to hear one parting comment from each of you, just a comment to our listeners, and just share something from your heart along the lines of peace. So who would like to begin?
I will.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the namaste, the light in me sees the light in you. There's no judgment there. It's just openness, love, and respect. And I think that's really the basis of where we start with peace.
Namaste.
Just say, may all be gentle, and may all be blessed with gentleness and joy, and may all feel the love and the light that they truly are, and remember the beauty and the essence that is available to all of us. and shine your light and just really, really trust that kindness is the answer, and always choose to be kind. And if you're just always choosing to be kind, we're going to see peace.
So, yeah, powerful. I was thinking about, as a water protector, and knowing that water is the source of life, and it's also considered our first medicine, be it as we drink it or as we shed a tear, right? It's our first medicine. And I'll say to everybody what I say to the water, and from the water in me into the water in you. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. Miigwech.
I could say, for me, and probably all of us are working for the generations to come. I mean, we're working to make this a more peaceful world for ourselves, but really for the generations to come. And I've been working with students in San Diego, and our whole focus has been to hear them and encourage them and empower them to be the world we want. We have to do it ourselves, but we have to be there for our children.
I think I wanted to quote, well, it's not a quote. It's an idea, concept by a writer, an author, Dr. Layla F. Saad. And she charges us with becoming good ancestors. And the first time I heard her say that, it really resonated with me, because each of us is working on the daily toward creating a more peaceful environment. And she asks us to go even further than that. The idea that when my descendants are thinking about me, will they think of me as a good ancestor? And so, not to say that I don't do the work while I'm here and try to affect as much change as I can while I'm here, but that the ultimate goal, if I think of it in terms of being a good ancestor versus, the right now, that just expanded my heart when I first heard it. And I just wanted to offer it here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Could I say one more thing? I was handed these during this call, so I think they're for all of us.
Oh, they're beautiful.
So these are our Happy International Day of Peace flowers. So
Happy Peace Day.
Happy Peace Day.
That. Oh, thank you so much, ladies. I encourage all of our listeners to visit thepeacealliance.com, right, ladies? Or
.org. Yes.
Peacealliance.org.
Yes.
MarBethDunn.com and we.net. Thank you so much for being here today. And I would say to you, stay in your heart and stay blessed and put that smile on your face. What we share with others, that smile tells the world that we're coming from a place of peace and love. Every night we make a declaration, and Karen is part of that. Karen, can we say that declaration together?
Absolutely. So we do this every night. Teri and I have been chanting together for over 800 nights together. We chant to remove all obstacles to peace. And we chant to be able to see each other as our true, original, innocent self. And so we make this declaration in a way for people to really feel the power of our words. Like I said, our word is a magic wand. So we're going to say this all together on the count of 3, 2, 1. We declare that there
There
is
is
peace on earth,
earth.
and we declare
Declare
that
that
peace
begins.
begins inside of us. And I'll just invite you guys to say it all with us now together.
Mhm.
So everybody can unmute, and anybody who's at home watching live or on the replay, doesn't matter, just say it out loud. Feel it in your heart. Feel it real. Feel it real. And say, we declare that there is peace on earth. And we declare that peace begins inside of us.
And namaste, y'all.
Namaste, y'all.
We love you. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing.